come sew with me. Now, if you've never been to my channel before, my name's Mandy and this is my channel. Come sew with me. And that's exactly what we do. So if this is your first time, hi, welcome. And please come back again because we're going to do lots of things. Now today, I'm going to bedazzle some clothing, and the word bedazzled. Now, that's a really nice word, interesting word. I've actually used it a few times, but I'll just show you what it actually means. Now, bedazzled means, one, is to greatly impress someone with outstanding abilities or a striking appearance. Number two is to decorate or personalize clothing or accessories using sequins, beads, or glitter, etc. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So I thought I'd just tell you what the word meant. So bedazzled means exactly that, dressing something up. And that's what I love doing. So today I have this black skirt. It's just a everyday type of skirt, but it is actually a stretchy one. And I have this black top. Now both these pieces of clothing are in my wardrobe and I do wear them, but it's about time I dressed them up. So let's bedazzle them. Okay, so we're back and we're going to get the list of things out that we need so we can bedazzle our clothing. And now this is the fun part. I love bedazzling. The first thing, and actually this is what we're going to use today. In future videos, we're probably going to use other different things and do different ways of doing stuff. But for today, what we're going to do, because my clothing is black, I have chosen all black with this one. So I have got 1/2 meter of lace, any sort of lace if you're interested in doing this, and I've got 1/2 meter of black Panne velvet. Now black Panne velvet doesn't have a lot of stretch one way, but it has a lot of stretch the other. It's normally a very tricky fabric to work with, but I have worked with it, so it's not impossible. Now these two pieces of mine, they were 1/2 meter by the length of the roll, but I've already started cutting things out. So those pieces are a bit short. Now the other thing I want you to look at is 1 fat quarter. Now a fat quarter is 1/4 of a meter. It's the length of the roll, and you go 1 meter in, cut it in half long ways, cut it in half sideways, and that's what you end up with, is a fat quarter. Now you can buy fat quarters anywhere. We have them here in Australia at both Lincraft and at Spotlight, so we pick up the fat quarters anywhere. Anyone who actually sells fabrics, any fabrics, are going to have fat quarters, but in America I think it's a little bit different. So work with what you guys work with and we'll work with what we have here. So get yourself 1 fat quarter. Now with your fat quarter, try to find the longest piece or the longest way, and what we're going to do with that is you're going to cut out this particular piece. You probably won't be able to do it, or might just scrape it in, but I want you to cut out 4 pieces in a 4-inch length. and then one piece in a 5-inch length. Now what you've got there is exactly what I'm holding up here. I want you to cut circles out, because these circles we're going to sew up and turn them into yo-yos, because they are so cute when it comes to dressing up stuff. So I've got, I did count these, but you should end up with quite a few circles anyway. Doesn't really matter how many you get, just work with it. Now your 5-inch lengths, what you're going to do here, and you will need to cut a 5-inch length off your lace, and a 5-inch length, actually you need 2 lengths of them. Going the 1/2 meter way, you will need to cut 2 of them at 5 inches. Now you can use your rotary cutters with this, or just use your scissors and guesstimate. It's pretty easy. Now with those 2 lengths of each fabric, both the lace and the velvet, and the one from your fat quarter, you're actually just going to cut them in strips. Now each of your strips are here. I'll just show you a few. They're not perfect, but here's a few of the strips. We try to cut them around 1/2 inch, most of them, but they're not always going to be like that. They're probably going to be a little bit bigger, but try not to go smaller, because if you go smaller, the fabrics, when they're pulled too much, will rip and tear. So keep that one in mind. But as you can see, I've already gone ahead and cut up my fabrics, all the 5-inch lengths that I had. So 2 from the lace, and 2 from the velvet, and 1 from the fat quarter. And this is what you're going to end up with. And I've got heaps of them. I've already gone ahead and cut most of mine up. So that's all of it there. And it just kind of looks like a scrappy little pile, really, and it probably is. But these are fun to work with. So that's my pile of the black lace and the black velvet. I have my pile of my fat quarter, and I have all my circles cut out for my yo-yos. So that's all you need there. Now, something else I want to tell you about. You can actually buy these things, which will help you make your yo-yos. These were probably an impulse buy of mine many years ago, because I haven't actually taken them out of the packet. I haven't actually used them. So I will probably end up dishing some of these things out to my daughters, and hopefully encourage them to do some more sewing. We can only hope. But my daughters are not really into it, but my granddaughter is. Now you can also get yo-yo makers in patterns. Like you've got heart shapes here, which they're really cute. So again, probably another impulse buy. And this one is just a really big flower. So if you're not sure how to make the yo-yos, you can buy these if you want to. But look guys, they are actually really easy to make. You have your circle. Oh, there's one sitting there. And all you do with your fabric is you get a needle and thread, and you do these by hand. So you can do this in front of the TV sitting down. And you just basically stitch, just tacking all the way around the outside edge. Then you pull it tight. And then it turns into the yo-yo. And all I do is tie the two threads together and cut it off. And that is your yo-yos. Yo-yos are fun. They're great to dress things up with. Another item that I also have is I grabbed a handful of beads and I've chosen the colours. Ooh, that white one's not supposed to be there. But I've chosen the colours to go with what we've basically got here. I've got some pretty purple ones, I've got black ones, and I've got some clear ones. I don't know whether I'm going to use the clear ones yet or not. We'll figure that out as we get there. Also, sorry guys, I just had to get rid of that bead. Also, another thing that I've actually got, remember last week how we made the curtains? Our strip curtains? Well, I've still got bits and pieces laying around. So I grabbed 2 black lengths because I have an idea for these. And then I also found 2 shorter lengths, which we will probably use as well. So I've got them and I've set them aside and we're going to bedazzle. Now, I've told you how much fabric we need or how to cut out your fat quarter, but the black velvet, now the black velvet, you will want to, okay, that works very well, sorry about that. This rotary cutter, I always push the wrong button on it, so I'll fix it up later. Being laughed at right now, how that fell apart. Yep. Now the black velvet, so you've got your 1/2 meter going that way. You will need to cut strips going down, right? So start at one end and start cutting down. Now on black velvet, actually, I'll just show you. On the Panne velvet, you have this edge here, which to start using the velvet, you really need to get rid of that edge. So you trim off probably about 1/2 inch all the way down and you get rid of that edge. But don't throw that piece out. Cut it up and put it in your pile. It's all going to eventually help. Oh, and I keep dropping all my pieces. Now in my pile here, I also have t-shirt material. So that, that fun top I did a couple of weeks ago, that's actually a small piece off that top. And I thought, wow, cut a few strips out of it. Let's use it. Don't waste pieces and don't throw everything out. Now over time, you can add to your little assortment here. Definitely add to it. All the fabric pieces though, we are going to use all of that up because like I said, when we do a project and we've got fabrics in it, I like to try and use everything up. So all of that in that fat quarter will get used in this project. The black velvet and black lace, not all of that's probably going to get used, but we can always save it for other projects. Now the black velvet, these strips again, a little over a little over an inch each. Sorry about that. I cut them using scissors and not so much the rotary cutter because I find that it's easy actually using scissors and doing one strip at a time. because they can be a little bit difficult. And it is quite hard to keep that fabric flat and straight. So I do it by hand. I just cut it by hand with scissors. But what I want you to do is cut as many of these strips as you can bear to cut, because these ones are going to be used for this, which I think looks beautiful. Instead of having a plain edge, we have this really decorative edge, and I think it looks quite beautiful. If you come back out, look at that skirt, and it's got a stunning edge on it. Now this skirt, I made this skirt from scratch, and I've actually got bells on it. This skirt is very, very stunning on, but because I live in Queensland, I don't get to wear it very often because it's a little bit hot. So cut as many of these strips as possible. With the lace, we're cutting 2 extra pieces off the lace. These pieces are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. They are roughly around 8 inches each. So we've got 2 of them. There, 2 pieces. Now these are because not everyone will want this. But if you've got a top like mine, this top actually doesn't have sleeves. And my idea to dress it up is to actually make some sleeves to go on there, but they don't go completely around. The sleeves actually really only go from there to there, not right to the seam edge. It's just a decorative little sleeve idea that will help to dress it up a little bit. So if you have a tank top like this and you're using a tank top, we're going to make a nice decorative sleeve, and that's what that piece is for. So cut out 2 of them. The length or the width of your lace fabric, so 1/2 meter, 8 inches, okay? Now those 2 pieces, set them aside. But I think that's about it for now. I did cut a couple of lace strips around the inch mark. You know, like I said, a little bit bigger than 1 inch, but there you go. I cut a couple of those pieces, and I may end up cutting more. I don't know. I'll wait and see when we get there and see if that little idea is going to work with this or not. Now, out of that lace, I am still deciding how much I want to cut for a decorative piece on one side. So we might figure that out again a little bit later as we move on. But for now, what I want to do right now is start sewing all my little strips on the edge of this skirt, on the very end. And you just alternate it, you know. Even if you alternate it between the velvet and the lace, and then just add a fabric one every so far, it's up to you, but alternate it. So the first thing we're going to do is the skirt base, or the bottom of the skirt, and the bottom of the top. So instead of showing you how to sew. It's just a straight stitch. You just sit down at your sewing machine, have your black threads in the sewing machine and your bobbin and your thread, and just sit down at your leisure and start sewing the strips on. Put some music on, grab a cuppa and enjoy it, and I'll get back to you shortly once I finish bits and pieces. But yeah, that's what we're going to do now. But I'm not going to bore you with you seeing my sewing. We'll leave that one. I'll show you after it's done. So I'll get back to you guys. I'll see you shortly. Okay, so I'm back again just to check in and show you how the skirt actually looks. Now we've started our bedazzling on the skirt, and I tell you what, that skirt has gone from plain to, oh wow, and we've got a little bit of colour in it, which really looks beautiful. And as you can see, every piece is not perfect, and that's the beauty when we do bedazzling. Now that one I've just done one line. And I think I'm quite happy with just one line, but you could go over and put a piece on top in between, which builds it up. And sometimes when you build it up, oh, it looks fantastic. It just looks beautiful. I know you're all thinking it's just scrap material and you've cut it up and wasted it. No, I haven't. I haven't wasted it. I'm creating a work of art, and that's what we're doing here. We're bedazzling everything, so we're being creative. Get your mind creative. But isn't that beautiful so far? So that's the skirt. Now I just want to pop over here and I'll just show you all I'm doing. This is all I'm doing. So come in close. This is all we're doing. Nothing fancy, and this is our top. So I'm just gathering pieces, laying them flat, and just putting them on the edge, and we're just doing a straight stitch over them. Pretty simple. And this is where I say, put some music on and do this, and before you know it, it's actually done. I mean, yeah, I got through the skirt really fast, so that's it. That's it, guys. That's all you have to do. And the end creation, it's just stunning. So let's get to and bedazzle some of our clothing. Now flat or straight stitch, that's all you need to use in this. And what I'm going to do for beginner sewers is try to use a straight stitch with everything that I do. Because it would be very easy for beginner sewers to learn how to use simple things. So what do you think of it so far? What do you reckon of that, guys? I personally think it's beautiful. I love it. I love the purple. I can't actually wait to do a green one, which I will show. That'll be later. But for now, I'm going to put some music on and continue sewing, and I'll be back. Hi guys, back again. I jumped ahead a little bit, so I have left you behind a little bit. Sorry about that. I will show you now. So this is how my top is looking so far. Now I started doing the neckline with the velvet, like I said, so I'll show you how to do that with those strips. And that is just these strips, these 1-inch strips. And look how stunning that neckline looks. I've also sewn one of the yo-yos in place. I've used 2 beads on the yo-yo itself. I actually found a bit of ribbon. It was a pretty close match, so I thought I'd use that. I do have a lot of stuff in my craft room, so it's really good to use some of it. And what I did here was I tied 2 beads onto the end. Now remember, when you play with ribbon, you've actually got to use a lighter and just burn it off, because it'll just keep fraying otherwise. But look at that. Remember I said earlier I cut 2 1-inch pieces of lace and I didn't know what I was going to do with them. So I actually thought, with 1 piece of velvet, the strips that I'm using for that, I grabbed one of them and the 2 pieces of lace, and I've tacked them on underneath, and I've also just tacked on the yo-yo as well. Now this ribbon is holding the beads on, so I threaded the beads on, basically tied a knot in the top, put the ribbon back through the beads to come underneath, and then put the beads on the end. But look at that. Look, how stunning does that neckline look? I love that. I love the way velvet dresses up things. And that's all you have to do. So that's what I've done so far. So with this top, all I'm really going to do is I've started doing the same thing to the back. So I'll finish that off with a yo-yo and do the same thing. The yo-yo, ribbon and beads. Then all I'm going to do is, see that neckline? I'm doing that around on top of all of these pieces. And I think that's pretty much all I'm going to do to the top. Besides the lace sleeves that I said, I'm still doing them. And I think once I put them on, I will probably do this over top. But this top is now almost finished. Like, it doesn't take long to bedazzle stuff, and I love doing this so much so that I get carried away and keep going. And I shouldn't sew at nights because nighttime is supposed to be with family, but it is late at the moment. So what I'm going to do, like I said, is I'm going to start finishing up now. And I think we'll get back into this video tomorrow because, yeah, we did start a little bit late today. So what we've done here, and I'll get this done first, I'm going to do it here, and I'm also doing it here. Okay, so I will show you tomorrow once I've done that, and we'll see how they look. But so far, oh, I'm loving it. And I can't wait to wear it. So, and tomorrow, I've got a bit of an idea for the skirt to dress it up a little bit. So I'll show you how I do that tomorrow. But for now, I'm going to say, I'll leave it here. And we'll continue this later. So I'll be back shortly. Okay guys, now I've realised I didn't show you how I did my little yo-yos or how I got the size. Okay, so I'll show you how I got the size. Now number one, I use this little teacup, and it's just a simple little teacup, a bit dirty and dusty. My little ruler. And the size of that opening is 3.5 inches. See that? So that's how I got the size of these circles. Now remember when I said you needed to cut strips of 4 inches? Well, your circles are going to end up being 3.5. Okay, so that's them. Now another thing, I've stitched up 2 of them there. Now you don't need the yo-yo makers like I showed you in the beginning. You actually don't need the yo-yo makers. Yo-yos are such a simple thing to make. Anyone can do them. So all you got to do is do it by hand. Needle and thread. I always have the thread doubled. Knot it. And come up close. This is our piece of fabric. So this is the inside, that's the outside. So we start on the outside, and all you're actually doing is you're just tacking. And that is pretty much all you're doing. So most of you out there should know how to make yo-yos, but for those of you who don't, this is it. Very simple. So I'm not going to bore you with that one. Anyway, I ended up with 16 yo-yos. How cool was that? So I've actually got the last the last 3 plus that one to sew up. And this is what size the yo-yos ended up being. So pretty too. So I've got the last ones here to do. Now for my skirt, I decided, and I have actually finished it, and I will show you how I do this. So I'll show you how I do that shortly. I'm going to show you on a scrap piece of fabric simply because I've already done it. Okay, so this is the skirt. Now we do change things up as we go, and I decided there's a thread there, is the only decoration I wanted to do on this skirt, because of the top actually. So I found a loose thread there, because when I get this skirt on with this top, the top is actually going to cover up most of the skirt. So I wasn't actually able to do what I was going to do. But hey, that little idea there I thought was really beautiful. I like it. So that's the skirt done. Skirt is finished. And I don't need to touch that anymore. So, oops. So we've actually gone, sorry about that, knocking things down. So what we've done is we've gone from a plain skirt to a bedazzled skirt. Now another thing too, I didn't put beads on the skirt because when you sit down, you actually don't want them, you know, pushing into your butt and stuff. So I've left them free of beads, because these beads, they are quite big and they're definitely going to annoy you. So we're not going to worry about them. So skirt is done. The top, however, we're still working with. But I do really like the end result. I think and I'm sure you will agree, that just doing a couple of things, simple things, and we bedazzled it. Look at that. I love it. I can't wait to wear it. And you will be seeing it on me in future videos, for sure. Now, the sleeve. We'll go back here because I'll do a lot of this without boring you. Now, these are the two pieces that I said to you in the beginning to cut. They're 8 inches by 1/2 metre. These are the lace. Now, my lace does have a front and a back. It is a little bit tricky to see the difference, but I'll just turn this over and you can see the difference. If you have a close-up look at this one, this is the front, and this one, that is the back. So you actually can see a clear difference. Sorry, I was trying to tell my camera lady to slow down with her camera there. Now with these ones, I have finished doing all this edging. I think that's all I want to do. Even here, once I put these sleeves on, I'm not going to do it there. But I'm going to do this other idea because I still have these strips. So these strips, I've put the right sides to the back. I'm going to stitch down probably about 1/2 inch. Actually, with me, it's probably about 1 centimetre, okay? I'm going to stitch all the way down about 1 centimetre to 1/2 inch. And I'm going to turn it over to the front, and then I'm going to stitch it down as close to the edge as possible because velvet doesn't fray. And that's one of the wonderful things about Panne velvet. So I'll show you how to do a little bit of that. Actually, I'll do a little bit of that right now because I've got that pinned in place. So, to the sewing machine. It's almost like the Batmobile, isn't it? All right, here you go. So it's just getting it in there. Now remember what I've said. Forwards, backwards. Oh, hang on, my thread. My sewing machine just came unthreaded. Love it. Love it when it does that, don't you? Actually, I think that was my fault anyway. I took a bit of a thread off it to do the yo-yos. Okay, we're back together. So now I'm about, although I might try to go as close to the center as possible. Sometimes I get carried away with my feet. So I've got this strip on the back, and I'm going down as close to halfway as possible. I have mentioned in the past also, don't run over pins. It is really not good for your sewing machine. Even though people will say it's okay, no, don't. because I have a beautiful Janome sewing machine that is just sitting over there, and I've actually broken something inside. I don't know what. I've had it fixed a few times, but there's definitely something broken inside. And it's purely from running over pins. And Janome sewing machines are expensive. Well, the ones that I have are. Okay, so we're going on this strip as close to that center as possible. I think I've done pretty good. Now, this is all because I don't like too many raw edges on some of my clothing. I mean, yeah, too many raw edges just don't really appeal to me. So now we can fold this whole section over, fold it over, and what we've got here is a bit of a velvet edge. By the time I stitch along this top edge, and then I'll stitch down there as well, we're going to have this nice edge piece. So I will try to show you. Again, playing with some fabrics is tricky. Some fabrics don't want to play properly. So we'll try and get that over. Tricky. All right, now your velvet wants to stretch, but we don't want it to. I'm just going to completely miss, oh, there it is. I need my unpicker because I've got to get it as close to that edge as possible. So I want to get the edge of the fabric in between there and stitch as close to that edge, top edge here. So I've pretty much got it there. But this one does require slow work. And keeping all three, because you're actually sewing down 3 fabrics here. The lace is pretty thin. And that's kind of why we're doing it, is because the lace is thin. So try to hold it in place as we sew. Like so. But look, I'm only going to do a little bit of this to show you because, again, it's a bit tedious, but that is the effect, that is the effect that I'm looking for. I wanted to get a nice edge on the edge of my fabric. And see how this is the front and this is the back, so you can see it a little bit better there. So that's all I'm going to show you with that one for now, and I will finish them later. But now I'll quickly show you how I did my little ruffles. So, because I didn't show you, because I got a little bit excited and I kind of kept going. So on this scrap fabric, I'll show you. So you go down. Now you can actually do this two ways. You could do it by hand and do a running stitch right down the center of the velvet strips. Now, as you can see, there's inconsistencies in it, and that's okay. So you can, tack it down. You would then pull it, sort of like gather it up, and then position it on your workpiece and pin it, then stitch it. But I didn't bother about that, so what I did was this. I went like that. And I just kind of, gather it up as I sew. It does take a little bit of time, but I kind of enjoy it. It's actually, I don't know, therapeutic doing this. Kind of getting into a zone. And I will show you also while I'm doing this how I connect another piece to it. And this way you will know. Now all I do is your next piece. We don't overlock the ends or anything. Just going to pop it in there on top of that one. And then continue with the gather. Look at that. What fun. So, yeah, I enjoy doing this, guys. I love sewing. Yep, this is what we do. Sewing is my thing. And I'll just finish that there because we don't need to continue. But again, there you go. And that's what I do. That's exactly what I did. So if you wanted to attempt to do these sort of decorative edges, they really do bedazzle things up. Now I haven't actually always just used velvet. There goes my top again. Now I made this top ages ago and I'm just going to hold on to it. And I'm really quite proud of it. But it does have a lot of work in it. Now, I used that gathering here with cotton. And I've washed this, so see how cotton actually frays a little bit on the edges? And it looks so beautiful. Then we've got the velvet, which the velvet really dresses it up. Now on this particular top, I worked with lace. I did a lace, like I did the velvet gather, then I did a lace gather. But then with the lace, and we will probably go on to these later on, I did all these other extra little pieces that just kind of bedazzled the lace up even more. And I used the edging of the lace with this one. And with the skirt, well, it's not actually a skirt, it's a top. So I've gathered lace here. Then I've done a little bit more of a lace edge. So not too many things will have a raw edge, but my Panne velvet does. And some lace can, but not all lace. But I'm going to leave that there now. And I will attack this top again, I think. I might put a couple more, not quite sure where I'm going to put my remaining 6 flowers. I'm still deciding. But the sleeve, I will show you when it goes on. I'll continue with that edge, and now that edge that I'm doing is the bottom edge. When I do put the sleeve into here, I'm just going to half one of those velvet strips, pretty much like what I've done, and run it around that sleeve edge. And that's all I'm going to do. So we'll get the sleeve on, and then I'll show you. I'll actually show you with it on. So I'll come back, finish all the sewing. Well, actually finish all the sewing first, and then I'll come back and I'll show you that shortly. Well, I'm back again, and this is the end result. Now, before I show you the outfit completely, I just want to say that my ideas did change as I was progressing. And I really like the purple, so I wanted to find bits and pieces to bring that purple up a little bit more, which was really good. Now the sleeves, I ended up having to cut an actual sleeve pattern into my sleeves because I wanted them to look like a real sleeve, if you can see there. But then I bedazzled them up a little bit. I ran out of my yo-yos because I only had 16 yo-yos. But I bedazzled my sleeves up a little bit, and I really like that little bit of bedazzle. Now, the top, well, there it is, the top and the skirt. I've actually got 2 different shoes on to show you that you can have different styles with it. You can have like a gothic look with my ankle boot, or you can have a more elegant look with a shoe. But either way, guys, I was really happy with my outfit, and I'm actually going to wear it today or tonight. So I'll just twirl around, and there you go. So what did you think of this? Now also, I'll just quickly show you what was left. I have these little pieces of lace which were cut off the sleeves. That's all I've got left of the strips. And that's all I've got left of the 1-inch strips. I've used most of my beads. And I used a bit of ribbon. But the original plan that I had to use these, I felt I didn't want to do it. So I'll save that idea for another outfit. And I still have this much left of that 1/2 meter of velvet. This is my little baby. And 1/2 meter of lace. So that's how much I've got left. Now don't throw any of this out, because as we progress, we will be using it. So keep everything that you've cut out, and we can always use it again. So what did you think of this, guys? I'll twirl around again. So if you like this and you really enjoyed seeing how I did it, like, subscribe and share it. And I might leave it here and I'll see you in my next video. So bye.